Hello and welcome to the Care Plan. My name is Jacqueline Boyd. I'm the owner and I'm so glad that you've joined us today. Today we are going to discuss isolation within LGBTQ plus communities. Here at the Care Plan we use the plus to recognize all of those identities and orientations that aren't included in the acronym LGBTQ. You may or may not be aware that one of the primary concerns of LGBTQ plus older adults is social isolation. We thought it was really important to address this topic this week as the weather is starting to change here in the Midwest. And with colder weather and shorter days, we find that our elders are susceptible to isolation, depression, and loneliness. There are a few reasons why LGBTQ older adults are at risk for isolation. Much of this has to do with family structure. Older LGBTQ adults are 3 and 4 times less likely to have children. They're twice as likely to age alone, and oftentimes the relationship with their family of origin can be tenuous or challenging. Many older LGBTQ people resist going to traditional settings like a senior center or moving into independent or assisted living out of concern for discrimination. Studies have shown that almost 80% of LGBTQ plus older adults living in long-term care facilities stay in the closet. As a care navigation company that specializes in the needs of LGBTQ plus communities, we see every day how health disparities impact and increase social isolation for our seniors. The devastating losses to the community due to the AIDS crisis has cut down people's support systems by half and left a legacy of survivor's guilt and trauma that still affects our older adults. Many of our older adults who lived through the AIDS crisis talk about the fact that if you weren't dealing with the diagnosis yourself, you were caring for someone who was. Considering that across the board, LGBTQ plus communities are dealing with earlier and higher rates of chronic illness and also mental health rates 2.5 times that of the general population, it's easy to understand why isolation is such a primary concern for LGBTQ plus communities. Now, if you identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, intersex, or any of the other identities we're discussing, and you're watching this video, I'm probably preaching to the choir. You know this better than I can express. If you're not a member of an LGBTQ community, though, you may be confused about these statistics. I want to be sure you understand that many of these disparities stem from the discrimination, violence, and stigma that LGBTQ people have experienced their whole lives. By continuing to other people based on their gender or sexual orientation, our society is gravely endangering the lives and well-being of LGBTQ people. A recent study showed that there is a 12-year difference in life expectancy for LGBTQ people who live in places of high stigmatization. What that means is that people who live in a place where it is not okay to be gay lose 12 years off of their lives. We also want to be sure that you understand that there are different challenges within that LGBTQ plus acronym. So LGBTQ communities are fluid and they have different challenges according to the different letters. It's not a one-size-fits-all, and I want to be sure that people understand that. Every older adult has traveled their own journey. They have their own priorities and experiences. As such, that means there's no one answer to combating isolation for older adults who identify as LGBTQ. Frankly, we provide classes and trainings on the needs of LGBTQ older adults, and this topic of social isolation alone could be a full-day workshop. In order to do justice to this subject, we're going to have a part 2 video coming out next week to share ideas on how to combat isolation for LGBTQ older adults. Thank you so much for watching this week. If you need resources or want to request a training with the Care Plan, don't hesitate to give us a call. Thank you and take good care.